Hello everyone, welcome you all. In the today's video, we are going to learn one of the important command in Unix or Linux, which is chmod. So basically this command provides permissions over a file. Suppose as a owner, I created one file. I want to give permissions to some other users on that particular file. I can use chmod command. Okay, so before understanding more about chmod command, we need to understand a few important things like roles and permissions. What are the different roles we have and different permissions are supported in Unix or Linux. So in Unix or Linux, there are three different type of roles we have. Three different type of roles. The first role is called as a owners. The second role is called as a groups. Third role is called as a others. So owners or users. We can say owners or users. And this is representing with U, and groups representing with the G, others representing with O. Okay, so these are the three types of roles supported in Unix or Linux. Similarly, there are three types of permissions we have. Three types of permissions. So every user having three different type of permissions, either read or write or execute permission. So read representing with R, write permission representing with W, execute permission which is representing with EX. So finally, we have three types of roles: owners or users, groups, others, and three types of permissions. They are read, write, and execute. Now, based on this, let us see one example. Let me connect to my Unix. And here I'm executing one command called ls-l. So when I execute this command, which will display all the files and directories, right? And if I just look at this information along with the files and directories, which is also displaying some other information here in every line. And if I just look at this information, the first part, so this particular part or portion of the line representing the permissions of the users or permissions of the groups or permissions of the others. So let us try to understand this. If I just look at here, some lines are started with the hyphen symbol and some of them are started with the D here. So when I see hyphen here, which is representing this is a normal file. And wherever you can see the first character like hyphen, they're all just normal files. And sometimes you can see the first character should be D, that representing the directory. So whatever we can see here is which is a directory. Okay, so that's the first part. When I say hyphen, that is a file. When I say D, small d, that is representing a directory. So by seeing that character, we can understand whether it is a file or a directory. So if just look at the rest of the things and we understand this, let me just copy this part and let us try to understand this. So here, actually, this contains three different parts. So first three is one part, second three is one part, and third three is one part. And if I just look at here, there are three things are there here. So these three representing owners, groups, others. So first three representing the permissions of the owners or users. Second three representing the permissions of groups. Third three representing the permissions of others. The permissions of others. Okay, let me repeat once again. So here, first three, that means RW hyphen represents user or owner permissions. And the next three, R hyphen, which is represents group permissions. And the last three representing other permissions. But what is this owner, groups, and others? First, we need to understand them. So we know like what is read, write, and execute permissions. But what about the users? Owners, what about the roles? What is the owner role? Groups, others. So we need to understand this first. And then we will see a few examples of chmod command. Before that, we need to understand what is owner, what is a group, what is other. Okay. Now to understand this, I'll just take one small example. It will give you clarity on what is owner, group, and others. Let us say I have a small project. I have a small project called, I say XYZ. And when I say a project means that contains multiple modules. A project contains a multiple modules. Let us say I have 3 modules. I say module 1, right? And I'll say module 2. And also have one more module called, I'll say module 3. So total I have 3 modules in my project. So when I say module, there are multiple people working on that particular module, right? Say in that module 1, let us say A, B, C. There are 3 developers are working under module 1. And in the module 2, I say D, E, F. So these are the 3 persons working under module 2. Similarly, there are more people, let's say I have G, H, I, J. So these people are working under module 3. So let us take this example. So I have a project called XYZ, which contains multiple modules. Now module 1 contains 3 developers. Module 2 contains another 3 developers. Module 3 contains 4 different developers. Now let us assume A is a person who is working under module 1. Let us assume A is created a file called sample.txt. Let us assume A is created a file. Let's say sample.txt, which is created. A is a person who is working under module 1 is created a file of sample.txt. Now, if I just look at here, now who is A? A is called user or owner of the file. Okay, A is a user or owner of the file. So who is he? A person created, whoever is created this file, who is called as a owner. Person created a file. A person created a file. Now, what is a group here? And B and C comes under the group. I'll say B comma C comes under the group. Comes under the group. So what is group here? So what is a group here? Group means persons working in the same module. In the same module comes under the group. So A, who is created a file, is comes under user or owner. And people who are working under the same module along with the B comes under the group. Means persons working in the same module. Other than these 3, rest of the people are working under other modules. They all comes under other roles. When I say D, E, F, also G, H, I, J. So these people comes under other role. So means persons working in other modules. Persons working under other modules. So this is a categorization. So roles, there are 3 roles are provided. So first role is user or owner. The person who created a file comes under owner or user. And group means a person's working in the same module where A is also working. There comes under the group. And other means the persons working in other modules other than this module. So there comes under other role. So user or owner, group, and other. So these are the basically called as 3 different type of roles. And every user, every role contains certain privileges. Let's say users can have read permission, user or owner can have write permission, user or owner can have execute permission. Similarly, group can have read, group can have write, group can have execute permission. Similarly, others can have read permission, others can have write permission, others can have execute permissions. Okay, this is a combination of roles and permissions we can use along with chmod command. Okay, now let us see a few examples. So chmod command we can use in 2 different methods. One is called symbolic, one is called symbolic or text method, and the second approach is a numeric method. Okay, numeric method. So in the 2 different methods I can use chmod command. First we will see how to use chmod command with symbolic or text mode, and then we will see numeric mode. So first let us start with symbolic or text mode, how to use chmod command. So now I'll take one example. Let's say example 1. So write a command to add execute permission to owner of the file. Let us say I have one file called sample.txt. Okay, so I have a file called sample.txt. So what is the command I want to write? I want to add execute permission. add execute permission to the owner of the file. Execute permission we have to add to the owner of the file. So owner of the file means what? It is representing with you. What permission I need to add? Execute permission I have to do. So user or owner, I need to add execute permission. So I want to add execute permission to the owner of the file. So owner is representing with the you. And what permission I should add? I should add execute permission. So plus execute permission means what? X. X is representing execute permission. So sample chmod command we have to use. chmod, and first we need to give the expression, then name of the file. So chmod add execute permission to the users on this particular file, sample.txt. Okay, so this is a command which we can write. So now let's see practically. So first of all, let me connect to Unix, and here let me just create one file. Let's create I say touch sample.txt. Now I created a simple file. Now let us see the default permissions of this particular file. I'll say ls-l sample.txt. Now if I just look at here, there are few permissions are already there. So what it is representing on sample.txt, first hyphen representing the normal file, okay, which is a normal file. Next first three representing the owner permissions. So what the owner is having? Owner is already having read permission, write permission, but there is no execute permission. And what about the groups? Groups are having read permission, but there is no writing and execute permission. And what about the others? Others are having only read permission, but there is no writing permission and execute permission. So these are default permissions which are given to this particular file. Now what is my requirement is I want to add execute permissions to the owner of the file. So owner of the file. So for that I can use chmod. Owner of the file means what? You representing owner of the permission. And what permission I need to add? Execute permission I have to add, say X. And on which file? Sample.txt file. So when I execute this, added. Now we can just ls-l sample.txt. Now we can just look at here. These are the permissions. So previously we have only read and write permission to the owners, but this time read, write and execute permissions also there for the owners. Okay, first hyphen representing the file. Now we can just look at here, read, write and execute permission is also there for the owners. So this is how we can add this command. Now we'll see one more example. Write a command, add execute permissions to the owner and add read, write permissions to the group and others. So here my requirement is owner should have execute permission and group and others should have only read and write permissions. Okay, so owner should have, let me write here. So owner means what? You. E should contains the execute permission means X. And others should have read and write permissions. Others means what? O. O should have read and write permissions. So this is my requirement. So how we can write the command for this? chmod and user should have execute permission. So user plus X, comma, others should have read and write permissions. Okay, others should have read and write permissions. So how we can write others plus read and write permissions, or W we can specify. Okay, so this is how we can specify. And owner should have execute permission and read and write permissions to the group and also others. Not only others, groups also should have read and write. So in the second parameter, groups, right? So G plus read W, comma. So this is a complete command. So user or owner is having execute permission. Groups is having read and write permission. Others also having read and write permission. Others also having read and write permission. And the same command we can also write like this. So user is having execute permission, comma, group and owners are having same permissions like read and write, right? So instead of writing two entries, I can say group and owners, group and others having read and write permission. So G representing a group, O representing others. So group and owner, group and others, both are having read and write permission. So this same command you can also write like this. So now execute this command. So when I execute this command, and also we need to specify the name of the file, on which file we are giving the permission, that is sample.txt. Let's execute this command. So after execution, now let us see the privileges. Now we can just look at this. What are the privileges we have given? For user, we have given EX, that means execute permission. So first three representing the owner or user permission, that's RWX, right? So read, write already there. So execute permission additionally we have given, fine. Now the next three representing the groups. For the groups, what is the permissions we have given? Read and write. So read and write permissions are there, but there is no execute permission. And the last three representing others. For others, what are the permissions we have given? Read and write. So read and write, and there is no execute permission. Okay. So this is how we can add permissions to the particular file at the user level or owner level, group and others. Okay. Let me show you one more example. Example number 3. So write a command to remove read permission from group and others. So this time I want to remove the permissions. So write a command to read permissions from group and others. All the permissions I'm saying. Okay. All the permissions I want to remove. So write a command to remove read permissions, not all the permissions, read permissions. Only read permissions I want to remove from groups and others. So groups and others means what? G and O. And I want to remove the permissions. So minus I have to use. And what permission? Read permission. So I have to use R. Okay, R I have to use. So from the groups and others, I want to remove read permissions. We can also write command like this. First from the groups, remove the read permission, comma, from others also remove the read permission. So the overall command will be like this: chmod G-R O-R and sample.txt file. And here also we have to specify the name of the file. So we can write the same command in two different ways. So the first way is chmod, from the groups, remove read permission, from others also remove read permission on this particular file. And this is also representing the same thing. From the group and others, remove read permission. Okay, so let's try to execute this command. And when I execute this command, execute it. Now we'll see the permissions now. And what we have done, from the groups and others, we removed read permission. And groups and others means what? Not first three. Okay, second three and the third three. If I just look at the second three, which is representing the groups. So no, there is no user permission. There is no execute permission. Only writing permission is there. And if I see the last three, there is no user permission. There is no execute permission. Only writing permission is there, because we have removed read permission from groups and others. So this is how we can use commands along with the chmod. So these are all examples we have used in symbolic or text mode or text method. And we also have another method called numeric method. So by using this method also, we can use chmod command. Okay, we can also use chmod command. But before that, let me show you a few more examples. Okay, so let me just say example 4. Now what does it mean? Chmod, I have given U minus W, G minus W, O minus R, and we should give some comma here. Okay, so U minus W, G minus W, O minus R, sample.txt. So what does that mean? Write permission we are removing from users. Write permissions removing from the groups. Read permissions are removing from others. So this is the meaning of this command. So what is the meaning? Write permission cancel from the owner. Owner means user. Write permission cancel from the groups. Second part. Read permission also cancel from others. So on sample.txt file. This is the meaning of this command. And similarly, let us try to understand this. Chmod, U plus RWX, G plus RWX, O plus R, sample.txt. What exactly the meaning of this is? For users or owners, I'm adding 3 permissions: reading, writing, and executing. So user or owner is having read, write, and execute permissions. Now I'm also adding read, write, execute permission for the groups also. Now I'm just adding only read permissions to the others. Okay, I'm adding only read permissions to the others. So let us try to execute this command and see here. So now if I just look at here, cannot access sample.txt, which is saying, because which is also having some different type of permissions already available. So here what we are doing is basically we are adding and removing the existing properties. So before executing these commands, so what I will do is I need to just give commas here. Okay, I say comma and comma and the third command. Okay, let me just execute this command now. So no spaces. So just say only comma separated by commas. That's it. Okay, now it is executed. So now let us execute this. Let us see the privileges. ls-l sample.txt. Now let us observe how it is executed. So we should not give spaces, guys. We should give only commas here. But in some Unix or Linux flavors, spaces also allowed, but especially in Ubuntu, spaces are not allowed. So this is the command which I have given. Now, after giving this command, let us cross check the what are all permissions I've added to the users, groups, and others. So for users, I have added read, write, and execute permissions. Now, if I just look at here, first 3, read, write, and execute permissions are added. Now, for the groups also, I have added read, write, and execute permission. So for the groups also, read, write, execute permission is added. For others, I have added read permission. So for others, read permission I added, write permission is already there, and there is no execute permission. Okay, so this is a way we can add multiple permissions to the users at the user level, group level, and others level. Okay, so these are all few examples we have used in symbolic or text method. And we can also use chmod command with the numeric method. Now we'll see how we can use with numeric method. So before discussing the numeric method, every permission is having certain number. Okay, every permission is having certain number. If I just look at here, every owner, groups, others having like say U, G, O, right? And read, write, execute is representing with R, W, X, something like this. Right? Similarly, for every permission, there is a number also. Let me just copy this here. Let me increase the size. Okay. So read is representing with R, right? So this is also having some code. Let's say 4 is a code for read permission. And 2 is a code for write permission. And 1 is a code for execute permission. So by using these numbers also, we can give the permissions to the file. We can also use these numbers along with the chmod command. 4, 2, 1. 4 representing the read, 2 representing the write, 1 representing the execute. And if I just add this total, if I want to add all permission, read, write, and execute permissions to the file, I need to add all this number. 4 plus 2 plus 1, total 7. So 7 means what? All the permissions. 7 means all the privileges or all the permissions. Okay. Now, based on this understanding, let us see a few examples. I'm executing one command like this. I say chmod, I say 000 sample.txt. What does it mean? Sample.txt. I say chmod 000 sample.txt. So 0 means what? No permission. 0 means no read, no write, no execute. And 3 zeros means what? First number is representing the owners or users. Second number is representing the group. Third number is representing the other. So for owners or users, no permission. Groups also, there is no permission. Others also, there is no permission. So 0 representing nothing. So when I execute this command, all privileges and permissions will be removed from the file. So when I execute this command, execute now ls-l sample.txt. Now observe this. See this? all privileges have been removed from the file. So 000 means from the users or owners, I removed all the permissions. 0 means no permissions. From the groups also, I removed all the permissions. From the others also, I removed all the permissions. So we don't see any permissions for the file here. Okay, there's a first command. Now there is one more example. So what does the command do is no permissions to owners, groups, and others. Now example 2. Let us try to understand this. Chmod 777 sample.txt. So 7 means what? All permissions. Read plus write plus execute. 4 plus 2 plus 1. Total it is 7. So all permissions. Read, write, and execute. So when I say chmod 777 sample.txt means what? First 7 means representing all permissions to the users or owner. Second 7 representing all permissions of the groups. Third 7 is representing all permissions to the others. So when I execute this command, which will give you all the permissions to all the groups, all the permissions to all the groups. Let me execute. And now we'll see ls-l sample.txt. Now we can see rwx, rwx, rwx. Read, write, and execute permission I've given to all the users or owners, groups, as well as others. So this is a one command. So let me use one more command. Let's copy this. And here, this is a usage of 777. Now let me just take one more example. Chmod 444 sample.txt. 4 means what? 4 is representing only reading permission. So read permission to the owners, read permission to the groups, read permission to the others. For owners, groups, and others, I have given only read permission. Now let us cross check this command. Execute this command here. Yes, now execute ls-l sample.txt. Now we can see owners, groups, and others. Everyone is having only read permission. That means I have given 444. 4 representing the read. So owners is having 4, groups is also having 4, others also having 4. So read permission I have given to all 3 roles. That is a one more command. So this command will provide the read permission given to owners, groups, and others. Now let me take one more example. Chmod 600 sample.txt. What is meant by 600 means? 6 means what? 4 plus 2, 6. That means read and write combination. So 6 is representing read and write combination. 4 plus 2 is 6. And read and write permissions to the owner, no permissions to the group, no permissions to the others on sample.txt. Let us execute this command. So executed. Now let me put this file. Now observe this. And I have given read and write permissions to the owner. So read and write permissions are there for owner, but rest of the groups and others, no permissions. Because I say 0 and 0, no permissions to sample.txt on for groups and others. So this is a one more command. So what this command will do here is 6 representing, read representing 4, write representing 2. So 4 plus 2 representing read and write permissions given to the owners, but no permissions to the groups and others. So this is one more example. Let's take one more example. Chmod 664 sample.txt. What is meant by 664? Again, I said 6 means what? Read and write. And read and write for owners and read and write for groups, but only read for others. 4 representing only read, right? Read and write for owners, read and write for groups, read and write for others. So this is a command we have to execute now. Let me execute. Sorry. Let's copy this command and execute. So after that, let's see the file. Now observe this. Read and write permissions have given for owners and groups. So read and write. But only the read permissions is given for others. So others are having only read permissions. R is representing read. There is no writing permission. There is no execute permission. So this is a command. So the meaning of this command is this one. Read, write permissions given to owners and groups. So first entry is representing the owners. Second entry representing the groups. Third entry representing others. and read permission given to others. 4 representing read. So read permission is given to others. Now let me show you one last example. Chmod 111 sample.txt. What does it mean? 111 sample.txt. So one is representing what? Execute permission. So execute on 3 levels. Owner having execute permission, group is also having execute permission, other is also having execute permission. All 3 roles are having execute permission on sample.txt. Let's execute this command. And if you see here, executed cls-l. Now you can see owner is having execute privilege, group is also execute privilege, others also having execute privilege, but there is no reading and writing privileges for all. Not only owners, groups, and others also not having those privileges, only having execute privilege for all 3 people. Okay, all 3 roles, right? So this is another way we can give the permissions to the file by using chmod. So one is by using symbolic or text method we can use, or we can use a numeric method. So every permission is representing with some number or some code. By using this code also, we can give the permissions and we can remove the permission. If you want to remove the permissions, you can use same chmod command. So 0 representing the no permissions. Okay, so this is all about chmod command, which is very, very important command. Most of the times, if I create a files, or if you want to give some permissions to the users or a group members or like others, then you can use this particular command. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.